Disclaimer: by existing in the modern world, you've agreed to a set of shady, manipulative, emotionally explosive terms and conditions. You just didn't know it. Until now. This is the Industry Plant Podcast. Terms and conditions apply, but never where they're written. From dating apps to office birthdays, we're decoding society's shady little user manuals, one unwritten rule at a time.
Ever feel like you're navigating a maze and everyone else seems to have the map, but you never got one?
Oh, definitely. That feeling is so common.
Well, that's kind of what we're diving into today. We're pulling apart this really fascinating piece one of you shared called Cruddle plus Alt plus Deal, Navigating Life's Unspoken Contracts. And our mission really is to get under the skin of these silent agreements that shape so much, and maybe give you a bit of a compass, help you navigate them more consciously.
Yeah, and what strikes me right away is just how universal these things feel. This Cruddle plus Alt plus Deal piece. Yeah. It's like it gives a voice to that background hum of expectations we all sort of feel.
Totally.
Even if we haven't quite put our finger on them, it really makes you think about the power these unwritten rules actually have.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's really dig in. First one that jumped out at me, contract one, is this push and pull. Between constant hustle and then this pressure to be, grounded and present.
Yeah, that conflict.
Right. We're told chase success, go, 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 but then also act like it's no big deal and, smell the roses.
It's such a potent contradiction, isn't it? The source puts it perfectly, something like work like your life depends on it, then apologize for working too much.
Exactly.
It's almost like there's this built-in guilt. You strive, you get somewhere, but then you're supposed to downplay it or feel bad for the time it took. I mean, historically, you could argue maybe it reflects shifting values, work versus leisure, but at least people feeling pretty tangled up.
Oh, it really does. I know I've felt that guilt for actually trying to relax after pushing hard, and then you layer on the whole online comparison thing.
Oh, right.
Seeing everyone's perfect moments just makes that feeling of not enough or not balanced enough even louder. It's like this invisible stage where the rules keep changing.
Which, it leads perfectly into the second contract, doesn't it? The curated online self. The source points out how much pressure there is to just show the positive, the pretty, the aesthetic version online.
Right. The fine print, it says. Be real, but keep it aesthetic. It's this constant editing job, isn't it? You want to connect, be authentic, but there's this quiet nudge to make it look good. Filter out the messy bits.
And what's interesting there psychologically is the feedback loop it creates.
Yeah.
By always showing this ideal image, maybe we just increase the pressure on ourselves to actually be that image.
Oh, good point.
Which just fuels that hustle thing again. It makes you question how real the connections are in those, heavily curated spaces.
It definitely does. Okay, number 3. This one really hit home for me. This demand to have your life totally mapped out, from way too young.
Yeah. So what's your major trap?
Exactly. What's your major? What's the plan? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? All that stuff.
And the source nails the hidden part, the clause you missed. You're supposed to become someone while still figuring out who that even is.
Right. It's like program the GPS before you've even started the journey of finding out who you are. It creates so much anxiety, this feeling of being behind if your path isn't super straight and obvious. I really felt that pressure when I was younger, for sure.
It's like solving a Rubik's Cube blindfolded.
Yay.
And then that pressure clashes right up against contract 4. The paradox of change. We're told, grow, evolve. But then if you do, people are like, whoa, you've changed. Maybe even critically. But staying the same isn't right either.
That's a classic double bind, isn't it? The contract condition, the source mentions, you are never quite right in someone's eyes. Don't make that your compass. That's such a vital advice.
Yeah.
It just shows how pointless it is trying to please everyone with how you grow. That compass, it really has to point inward.
Exactly. Finding that internal okayness, realizing growth isn't always neat or applauded by everyone. Okay, contract 5. This gets into relationships, love. Even the quote-unquote unconditional kind.
Right.
The text suggests there are often these unspoken limits on how much real, messy authenticity is actually welcome. The silent agreement. Authenticity is welcome as long as it doesn't disrupt anyone else's comfort. That's a really sharp observation.
It is.
It points at how we learn, subtly, to navigate relationships. Often by, toning down parts of ourselves to keep things smooth. It's not usually mean-spirited, but it's just, a a reality of how people interact.
But it can lead to this quiet self-editing, right?
Yeah.
Holding back opinions, feelings, just to avoid rocking the boat. And maybe that chips away at real intimacy over time.
Absolutely. Which brings us to number 6, the whole complexity around asking for help. Society kind of says, be vulnerable, ask. But the reality of getting support, well, it can be different.
Yeah, the system error mentioned in the text. Support is often symbolic. Real help requires mutual bandwidth, and most people are running on low battery. That just cuts right through it.
It really does.
You might get the whole thinking of you text, but actual practical help, that often takes energy and time that, well, maybe the other person just doesn't have right then.
Exactly. It highlights that tricky balance. Needing help, but also respecting where others are at. And, the vulnerability it takes to even ask, and maybe the awkwardness for the person asked too.
Right. Okay, moving to 7. This interesting clash between the idea of peace, like all the wellness marketing, and how society still really values just constant doing, productivity.
Oh, yeah. We're swimming in messages about mindfulness and calm, but our jobs, our economy, they often reward relentless output, don't they?
Totally. The conflicting clause, calm is sold in slogans, productivity still wins the paycheck. That just nails the cognitive dissonance.
It does. We're told prioritize well-being, but the actual structures often push us towards being busy, sometimes even burnt out.
It creates this background hum of anxiety, doesn't it? Like you're slacking if you're not constantly striving, even if you want to be calm. And that feeds right into number 8, equating our worth with our output.
That unwritten law, stillness makes people nervous, is so revealing.
It is.
There's this deep down belief that if you're not doing, you're somehow unproductive, lazy even. But we know rest, reflection, that's vital stuff. For creativity, for just staying sane, pushing back takes a real conscious effort to rethink what value even means.
It's about unhooking our basic human worth from, like, how many tasks we checked off today. Okay, number 9. This one's about the confusing signals around speaking up versus staying quiet.
The communication maze. The fine print here is speak, but read the room first. Always.
Always.
It just highlights how complex it is. It's not just what you say, but when, how, to whom, understanding all the unspoken stuff happening. It's a constant balancing act, really.
You almost need ESP sometimes to navigate it all. Trying to be real, but also, not stepping on toes unintentionally.
And then finally, contract 10.
Yeah.
This touches on that ingrained expectation, maybe more for some folks than others, to manage other people's comfort, their emotional state.
Yeah.
Sometimes, putting that ahead of our own.
Yes. The hidden clause, you'll be called difficult for protecting your peace.
Ooh!
That one's powerful. It really is.
Because setting boundaries, saying no, it can get you labeled negatively, which makes it harder to actually do it, to protect your own needs.
It shows how society often conditions us to value being agreeable, accommodating, maybe more than valuing self-preservation. It's a huge area for us to consciously look at in our own lives. Right?
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, we've unpacked these 10, really insightful unspoken contracts, but critical plus alt plus deal, the source, it doesn't just leave us there. It offers a framework for actually navigating them. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, absolutely. Give a sense of agency back, which is great. So first is critical, control what's yours.
Okay.
This is about focusing on your own stuff. Your responses, your actions, things you actually can influence. You can't just wave a wand and change society's expectations overnight, but you can control how you engage with them, how you react.
That feels, empowering. Taking back some control.
Got it.
Got it. And alt. Alter what doesn't serve you. This is key. It acknowledges that, these contracts are strong, but they're not, set in stone forever. You do have the power to step back from some expectations, to set different boundaries for yourself, to consciously say, you know what, I'm not playing by that particular unspoken rule because it's hurting me.
So actively trying to change your relationship with these contracts where possible makes sense. And the last part, deal.
Deal. Navigate the rest with grace, grit, and dark humor.
I like the dark humor part.
Me too. This is the realism kicking in. Some of these contracts are just so woven into how things work, They're not easy to change just on your own. So for those, it's about building resilience.
Yeah.
Getting some perspective. And maybe finding the humor and the absurdity of it all helps you cope without getting totally overwhelmed.
So grit might be like consistently holding your boundary even when it feels awkward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the dark humor is that release valve when things just feel ridiculous.
Okay, so it's a practical approach. We can't just dismantle everything instantly, but understanding them, seeing them, lets us deal with them more consciously. I love that line at the end of the source text. Once you see the fine print, You get to stop pretending it's invisible.
That's really the heart of it, isn't it? Awareness. That's the first huge step. It lets you navigate this stuff with intention instead of just getting pulled along by currents you didn't even realize were there.
And that feels incredibly valuable. Hopefully this whole deep dive has kind of shone a light on some of those shadowy forces for you.
Precisely. It's like getting a new pair of glasses.
Yeah.
You can see your own experiences, your interactions, maybe a bit more clearly. And that empowers you to make different choices going forward.
So as you go about your day, maybe think about this. Which of these unspoken contracts feels the loudest in your life right now? And what's maybe one little term in that contract you might want to try and consciously rewrite for yourself?
Yeah, take a look at that fine print.
It's time. Maybe start negotiating on your own terms.
All right, listen up. I need you to do something bold. Grab your phone and text the podcast link to someone you care about with the message. I have a podcast recommendation. Listen and tell me what you think. Yes, verbatim. Try it. Because the real magic, it starts when that person texts you back. For real, the replies from loved ones have been deeply satisfying. I'm talking heartfelt thank yous, mind-blown emojis, late-night, we need to discuss this calls. The works. Sharing this show is basically a cheat code for meaningful connection. Who knew, right? And hey, if you're vibing with us here, wait till you dive into the Angry GPT universe beyond the pod. Angry GPT has its very own store. Yeah, an Angry GPT store, loaded with comic books and novels that take this experience further. I'm talking wild stories. Ever wonder what our feisty AI does off-duty? Grab Angry GPT Regrets or Feathers of Freedom. Where I Gave Humans Wings and find out. That last one? Let's just say giving humans wings comes with some hilarious fine print. Prefer listening to your stories instead of reading? We got you. The Angry GPT Regrets audiobook is up on YouTube for free right now. No strings, just hit play and enjoy. And if you're the collector type or want to support the hustle, it's on Amazon too. Options, baby. Now, this one's a trip. There's an Angry GPT mobile app. Yep, our lovable grump of an AI can ride shotgun in your daily life. Ask it anything. It's ready with answers, witty comebacks, and genuinely useful advice to keep your projects on track and your plans in motion. Think of it as a personal coach, shyest assistant with attitude, making sure you actually follow through on all those brilliant ideas you get from the show. And did I mention we make music too? Because of course we do. Our album Done on Purpose, Italian title Fata Apposta, is out on every streaming platform you can name. It's your official soundtrack for kicking down doors and doing things your own way. Play it loud. Annoy the neighbors. They'll understand once they hear it. For those who still can't get enough, we've got even more reading material to fuel your fire. Hit up the Angry GPT store or your favorite bookstore for titles like AI Wave, The New Wave, Momentum, Stop Copying Apple, and Niches, Crafting and Layering. Each one is a game plan in print, covering everything from surfing the next big tech wave to carving out your own niche. And yes, telling copycats to take a hike. By now, you've probably realized we're not just making a podcast, we're sparking a whole movement, and we want you in on it. So send that text, dive into the Angry GPT goodies, and wear that early supporter badge with pride, because you're not just a listener now, you're family. Welcome to the revolution. Now let's shake things up together.